I've been asked to introduce why we are introducing the new Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop. And it'll take a little bit to explain this. It's not a very simple thing, actually. We introduced the original workshop, The Flower of Life, long ago, about in 1984. But we have to go back further to really understand. In about 1980, the Ascended Masters, which are the highest form of humankind on Earth right now, and there's about 8,000 of them, they are the ones that are controlling and the ascension that's on the planet, along with Mother Earth and Father Sun. And they decided to begin by introducing the information of ascension in the way that it has always been done forever, just about. And that is by first bringing the people into their heart, then into the sacred space of their heart. Then they find the tiny space of their heart, which is this very sacred and holy place. And then from there, they, through the tip of the tongue, which would take a while to understand why, it goes up through the roof of the mouth, and from there it connects into the brain. So they're connecting the heart back to the brain. And then from there, there is many inner technologies within the brain that are introduced, such as beams of light and these kinds of things that at this moment you may not understand. And then from there, the human Merkaba, which is a very large electromagnetic field that is about 55 or 65 feet in diameter, that is the very last thing that is activated in this process. But there was a problem. There were 4 women that the Ascended Masters asked to do this, to begin this process in the world. And as they began to give these workshops around the world, but most of them were in the United States, it was only women who showed up for these workshops. There would be 100 women and maybe 1 or 2 men, and just practically no men at all. And the reason was because the Earth herself, initially, long ago, from the times of 200,000 years ago, as we came out of Egypt, out of Africa and then into Lemuria, we were becoming a female planet. Planets have to become male or female. We were becoming female. But we were interfered with during the time of Atlantis, and we were shifted into a male direction. And in modern day times, we are very male. And we're so male now that the males on the Earth can't feel or sense the subtle energies of the world. And so the men just weren't interested in having anything to do with the heart. It was just, it didn't seem like it was anything real, and it didn't seem important. And so after about 4 years of this, or 3.5, 4 years of watching these workshops with almost all women in them, the Ascended Masters made a decision. And they decided to reverse the direction of how we do this and begin with the Merkaba, go backwards down to the beams of light, further down into the heart, and then from there to reconnect everything back. This was not a normal thing to do. This was really a synthetic, you might say. It wasn't a natural way to do it, but it was the only way they could think of. And they did it because the Merkaba is a geometrical, mathematical, electromagnetic field that can be picked up by science and understood. And so to the males of the world, it was real and understandable. And so by starting with the Merkaba, the males were attracted to this, and it worked. It really did work. Very quickly, it was the ratio almost instantaneously within 2 or 3 workshops became about 60-40, about 60% female, about 40% male. But there were problems with doing this. If you start in the natural way, beginning with the heart and moving through, the ego is subdued during the process, and it is a safe process. It's the way that nature originally did it. But by going backwards, by going from the Merkaba first, the ego is still very, very strong during this whole thing, and it became extremely apparent throughout the world. People all over the world that learn the Merkaba begin to change it to all kinds of things. They would change the speed ratios, they'd change the shapes from tetrahedrons to octahedrons and all kinds of things like this. And this was not appropriate. In fact, it was dangerous. And the Ascended Masters understood this, but there was really nothing they could do at that time. Slowly over time, because of this, it was not all negative, because of this the Earth's consciousness began to rise, and after about 20 years of this, which was just recently, in 2010, the decision was that we had reached a level of consciousness where men and women were able to understand the subtle energies. And so the Ascended Masters decided to introduce, in 2011, the original way that this was put out to the world. And so it began, and it was beautiful. So in 1984, the Ascended Masters came to me, and they asked me if I would introduce this in a reverse order to the world. And basically, I think they were seeing if it would work, and I agreed to do this. And so I did introduce it. It was in December of 1984, and it did work. But there, like I said, there were many, many different problems. At this point now, because of the way that we have grown through this process, the new way, which is now called the Awakening the Illuminated Heart, has been introduced for the first time, really, in 13,000 years. And so it is the original way. It's starting with the heart. It's going through the process of then going to the sacred space, to the tiny space, introducing all exactly the way that it has always been done. And what happens, though, through this is that instead of having a Merkaba that you have to create through meditation, and which is synthetically created by mudras and breathing and all these kinds of things, it happens once the brain is connected to the heart in the proper way, then in a very specific state of consciousness, you begin to breathe through your breathing tube in a way, and what happens is the Merkaba just comes out automatically and naturally. And it comes out in a fully mature, permanent state of consciousness. It's amazing to experience this, especially for me, who have been breathing with the synthetic field for over 20 years, to feel the difference, which is amazing. It really is. So it's up to you. This is your life, but I hope that this helps you and that it becomes a blessing in your life. So thank you. If you feel in your heart that this is something that you would like to do or to explore, it's very simple. All you have to do is to go onto www.drunvalo.net, and under there you will find the School of Remembering. In the School of Remembering is the school that is teaching this. At the moment there's just not very many teachers, there's less than 60 teachers I believe, but every single one of them are listed on there, and they're all around the world. And so all you have to do is just find the teacher that is attracted to, that you like, that is in the language you want and in the country you want, and click on that, and all the instructions of how to do that are right there. There is something that's very important if you choose to do this work, and that is that this training is extremely precise. And we have, though we have trained many people, there's only a few that we have found that can really do this properly. And so everyone that actually we have authorized and certified to do this is on the website. They're all listed there. If you find anyone doing this anywhere else in the world or in any other website, they're not authorized by me. And I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know what they're saying. And so I can't recommend this because I just simply don't know what is happening there. And so the only way that I can know for sure that you are getting what I know is the proper way is you must take them off this website. And you have to understand, I'm not making any money from any of these people or anything else like this. This is not a for-profit adventure that I'm doing here. This is from my heart to you, and I have trained these people, and I believe that they really do know. So I hope that this helps you. Because I would like to be very clear about this and actually protect you for what I see happening in the world, I'd like to explain this a little bit more. There are teachers in the world that are claiming that they have been trained by me. They may even show pictures with me with them. This is not true. The only teachers that are certified and authorized by me are on the website. If they are not listed on there, then they are not there. And there is another school called the Flower of Life, which is teaching the Merkaba in the old way, and there is nothing wrong with that school, but this is fine. What they're doing is just fine, but it is not this school. What we are teaching is completely different. It is an utterly different school. So if you wish to go to see that school, then do it, it's okay. But if you wish to know what this new work is and understand what I'm teaching now, you must get a teacher that is on the website. Or you can come to one of my workshops, and that's all right too.